My name is Claire, and at 25 years old, I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. But nothing prepared me for the day my own brother looked me in the eye and said those cruel words that would haunt me for months. What he didn't know was that our father had been watching everything from the shadows, planning the most brilliant revenge from beyond the grave. If you've ever been told you don't deserve what's rightfully yours, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. This story will shock you to your core. The day everything changed started like any other Tuesday morning. I was making coffee in my small apartment when my phone rang. It was Mr. Henry, our family lawyer. "Claire, I need you to come to my office. Today, it's about your father's will reading." My heart stopped. Dad had passed away 3 weeks ago from a sudden heart attack. The grief was still fresh, like an open wound that wouldn't heal. "Of course, Mr. Henry. What time?" 2 o'clock? "And Claire, your brother Nicholas will be there too." I felt my stomach drop. Nicholas and I hadn't spoken since the funeral, not because of grief, but because of what he had done. Let me take you back to understand why those words, "Don't even dream about that money," cut so deep. Growing up, Nicholas was always the golden child. 3 years older than me, he was everything my parents seemed to want in a son. Tall, confident, and charming when he needed to be. But behind closed doors, he was cruel to me in ways that still make my chest tight. When I was 7 and he was 10, I saved up my allowance for months to buy Dad a birthday present. A small wooden figurine of a fishing boat because Dad loved fishing. Nicholas broke it the night before Dad's birthday and told me no one would believe it wasn't an accident. When I was 12, I won first place in the school science fair. I was so excited to tell my family. Nicholas convinced Mom and Dad that I had cheated because Claire isn't smart enough to win on her own. But the worst betrayal came just 6 months before Dad died. Dad owned Hamilton Construction, a company he built from nothing over 30 years. It wasn't just a business, it was his legacy, his pride. He always said he wanted to leave it to whichever child would honor what he had built. I had been working at the company since I graduated college, starting from the bottom, learning every part of the business. I worked weekends, stayed late, and treated every worker with respect just like Dad taught me. Nicholas, on the other hand, had been in and out of different jobs his whole adult life. He would work for a few months, then quit when things got challenging. He had never shown any interest in the family business until he heard Dad talking about retirement. Suddenly, Nicholas was coming around more.
Taking Dad to expensive dinners.
Buying him gifts he couldn't afford. Playing the role of the devoted son. A year before Dad's death, we were all at Sunday dinner. Dad mentioned he was updating his will. "I've been thinking about the future of Hamilton Construction," Dad said, cutting his roast beef slowly. "I want to make sure it goes to someone who truly understands what it means." Nicholas immediately sat up straighter. "Dad, I've always been interested in the business side of things. Claire's great with the day-to-day stuff, but running a company requires real vision." I felt my face burn. "Nicholas, you've never worked a single day at Hamilton Construction." "I've been there for 3 years, learning from Dad every day." "Learning to follow orders isn't the same as learning to lead," Nicholas shot back with that smirk I knew so well. Dad held up his hand. "I'll make my decision based on character, not on who can talk the loudest." That night, as I was leaving, Nicholas cornered me in the driveway. His face was twisted with anger and something else, desperation. "Listen carefully." "Little sister," he said, stepping closer. "Dad built that company for his son to inherit, not his daughter. That's just how the world works. So don't even dream about that money. It's not meant for you." The way he said it, so cold, so sure, made me feel small and worthless, like everything I had worked for meant nothing. "Nicholas, why are you being like this? We're family." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Family? You think being born into the same house makes us family? You've always been jealous of what I have, what I am. But you'll never be good enough to run Dad's company. Never." I wanted to cry, but I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. Instead, I got in my car and drove home, his words echoing in my head. Over the next 1 year, Nicholas's manipulation got worse. He would show up at the office when I wasn't there, talking to Dad about his plans for the company. He started bringing up my mistakes in front of clients, making me look incompetent, but Dad seemed to see through it. He would just watch quietly, making notes in that little journal he always carried. Claire, he told me one evening as we locked up the office together, people show you who they really are when they think something is at stake. Remember that. I didn't understand what he meant then. I thought he was just making conversation. 3 weeks later, Dad collapsed at the office. Massive heart attack. He died before the ambulance arrived. At the funeral, Nicholas played the grieving son perfectly. He gave a beautiful speech about Dad's legacy and how he would honor his memory.
He even put his arm around me during the burial, whispering, "We need to stick together now, Claire."
But the next day, when we met at Dad's house to start going through his things, the real Nicholas came out. "I think we should sell the house." "Quickly," he said, sitting in Dad's favorite chair like he owned it. "And the business too. Get whatever we can and split it." "Sell Hamilton Construction?" I stared at him in shock. Dad spent 30 years building that company. It's his legacy.
"His legacy is whatever money it can bring us," Nicholas said coldly.
"Besides, neither of us knows how to run a construction company. I've been working there for 3 years. I know every part of that business." Nicholas laughed. "You know how to answer phones and file papers? There's a difference." That was when I realized nothing had changed. Dad was gone, and Nicholas was already planning to destroy everything he had built. Which brings me back to that Tuesday morning phone call from Mr. Henry. I arrived at the lawyer's office at exactly 2 p.m. Nicholas was already there, sitting in one of the leather chairs like he owned the place. He was wearing Dad's watch, the one Dad had worn every day for 20 years. Seeing it on Nicholas's wrist made my heart ache. "Claire," Nicholas nodded at me with a fake smile. "Glad you could make it to your own disappointment." Mr. Henry cleared his throat. He was an old man with kind eyes who had known our family for decades. "Thank you both for coming. I know this is difficult, but we need to handle your father's final wishes." He opened a thick folder and pulled out several documents. "Your father came to see me twice in his final months. He was very specific about how he wanted his estate handled." Nicholas leaned forward eagerly. I could see the greed in his eyes, and it made me sick. He left detailed instructions, including 2 separate documents. 2 documents? I looked at Nicholas, who seemed as confused as I was. Mr. Henry adjusted his glasses and began reading from the first document. "I, Robert Hamilton, being of sound mind and body, do hereby leave my entire estate to my son, Nicholas Hamilton. This includes Hamilton Construction, the family home, all bank accounts, and investment portfolios. To my daughter Claire I leave my personal effects and my blessing for her future endeavors." The room went silent. I felt like I couldn't breathe. After everything, all my hard work, all my dedication, Dad had left me nothing but his old clothes and tools. Nicholas started laughing, actually laughing. "Well, well, well," he said, turning to look at me with that cruel smirk. "Looks like Dad knew who deserved his legacy after all." Tears started burning in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not in front of Nicholas. "I told you not to dream about that money, didn't I?" Nicholas continued, his voice getting louder. "Did. You really think Dad would leave his company to his daughter? This isn't some fairy tale, Claire. This is the real world."
He stood up and started pacing around the office like he owned it. "Hamilton Construction is mine now. The house is mine."
"Everything is mine, just like it should be." Mr. Henry was watching Nicholas carefully, making notes in his own journal. Something about his expression seemed strange, but I was too shocked to think clearly. $30 million, Nicholas said dreamily. "That's what the company is worth, isn't it, Mr. Henry? Plus the house, the investments. I'm rich."
He turned to me again, his face twisted with triumph and cruelty. "You know what, Claire?
I might even let you keep your little job at the company. For minimum wage, of course. After all, someone needs to answer the phones." That was it. I couldn't take any more. I stood up to leave, but Mr. Henry's voice stopped me. "Please sit down. Claire, we're not finished yet." Nicholas looked annoyed. What else is there to discuss? The will is clear. Mr. Henry pulled out another document from his folder. This one looked different, newer paper, different letterhead. Your father left specific instructions about this second document. He wanted to read the first will aloud and observe everyone's reactions before revealing this one. Nicholas's face went pale. What second document? The real will, Mr. Henry said quietly. The room went dead silent. You could hear the clock ticking on the wall. I'm afraid the document I just read was a test, Nicholas. Your father suspected that someone in his family was more interested in his money than his legacy. He wanted to see how that person would react. Nicholas started shaking his head. No, that's not possible. You read his will. Everything goes to me. That was a fake will, designed to reveal the true character of his heirs, Mr. Henry continued calmly. Your father spent weeks preparing this test, and he left detailed notes about what he observed in his final months. He opened the second document and began reading in a clear, strong voice. I, Robert Hamilton, being of sound mind and body, do hereby leave my entire estate to my daughter, Claire Hamilton. She has proven herself to be trustworthy, hardworking, and dedicated to preserving what I have built. Claire shall inherit Hamilton Construction, the family home, all bank accounts, and investment portfolios. My heart stopped. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. To my son Nicholas, Mr. Henry continued, I leave $1 and this message. Money reveals character, son. I hope someday you'll understand that greed destroys everything it touches. Your sister has shown me the kindness and integrity I hope to see in both my children. Nicholas jumped up so fast his chair fell over backwards. This is impossible, you're lying. Dad wouldn't do this to me. Mr. Henry calmly handed me the real will. I could see Dad's signature at the bottom, witnessed and notarized. Your father also left you a letter, Claire. With trembling hands, I opened the envelope and began reading Dad's familiar handwriting. My dear Claire, if you're reading this, then my test worked exactly as I planned. I'm sorry I had to put you through this pain, but I needed to be absolutely certain about who deserved my life's work. For months, I watched Nicholas manipulate and scheme, thinking he was fooling me. I watched him treat you cruelly while pretending to care about our family. But most importantly, I watched you continue to work hard and show kindness even when you thought no one was noticing. You are the daughter I always hoped you would become. Strong, honest, and caring. Hamilton Construction isn't just a business, it's a responsibility. I trust you to treat our workers fairly, to build with integrity, and to carry on our family name with honor. Nicholas will be angry, but perhaps this lesson will teach him what I couldn't. That character matters more than money, and love cannot be bought or inherited. I love you, sweetheart. Make me proud. Dad. By the time I finished reading, tears were streaming down my face. But these weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of relief, vindication, and overwhelming love for a father who had seen everything and protected me even after death. Nicholas was still standing there, his face red with rage and disbelief. This is fraud, he shouted at Mr. Henry. I'll contest this. I'll sue. Mr. Henry remained calm. You're welcome to try, Nicholas. But I have detailed documentation of your father's mental state, video recordings of him signing both documents, and witnesses to verify everything. Plus, your behavior in this office today has been recorded and will serve as evidence of exactly why your father made this decision. Nicholas looked around the office wildly, as if searching for some way to change what had happened. Claire, he said, turning to me with desperation in his eyes. Come on, we're family. You can't do this to me. Split it with me 50-50. That's fair, right? I stood up slowly, Dad's letter still in my hands. For the first time in my life, I felt truly strong. Nicholas, I said quietly, 6 months ago you told me not to even dream about this money. You said I would never be good enough. You said family didn't matter. I didn't mean it, he said quickly. I was just upset, you know. Stressed about Dad being sick. We both said things we didn't mean. I shook my head. No, Nicholas. You showed Dad and me exactly who you are, and Dad made his decision based on that. Nicholas's desperation turned back to anger. You think you can run that company? You'll destroy everything Dad built within a year. Maybe I will, I said calmly. But at least I'll try to honor his memory instead of just cashing out. I turned to Mr. Henry. What do I need to do to take control of the company? All the paperwork is ready, he said, handing me another folder. You're now the sole owner of Hamilton Construction. The transition can begin immediately. Nicholas made one last desperate attempt. Claire, please, I need this money. I have debts, obligations. Without this inheritance, I'm ruined. I looked at my brother, really looked at him. For the first time, I didn't see the powerful, intimidating figure who had bullied me my whole life. I saw a selfish, desperate man who had gambled everything on his ability to manipulate our dying father. Nicholas, I said softly, Dad left you exactly what your character earned, $1 in a lesson. He stood there for a moment, probably, hoping I would change my mind. When he realized I wouldn't, his face twisted with hate. This isn't over, Claire. Family doesn't treat family like this. You're right, I said. Family doesn't treat family like this. That's why Dad chose me. Nicholas stormed out of the office, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Mr. Henry and I sat in silence for a moment. Your father was a wise man, he said finally. He knew this day would come, and he prepared for it carefully. Did he really think Nicholas would react like that? Mr. Henry nodded sadly. He hoped he was wrong, but he wasn't surprised. Your father loved Nicholas, but he wasn't blind to his character flaws. That evening, I drove to Dad's house, my house.
Now,
I walked through the rooms where I had grown up, seeing everything with new eyes. This wasn't just a house anymore. It was proof that someone had believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. I found Dad's journal in his desk drawer. The last entry was dated just a week before he died. Claire worked late again tonight, making sure the Patterson project was perfect. She stayed to help old Tom with his paperwork because his arthritis is acting up. She doesn't know I saw her, but these small kindnesses tell me everything I need to know about who she really is. Nicholas called again today, asking about the will. He's convinced I'm leaving everything to him because he's the son. He doesn't understand that inheritance isn't about genetics. It's about character. I've made my decision. Claire has earned this legacy through her actions, not her expectations. I pray she forgive me for the pain I'm about to put her through, but some lessons can only be learned through testing. Reading those words, I understood that Dad's test wasn't just about money or business. It was about proving to myself that I was worthy of the trust he was placing in me. The next morning, I walked into Hamilton Construction as the owner. The workers knew something had changed. News travels fast in small companies, but they treated me with the same respect they had always shown. Miss Claire, said Tom, the old foreman Dad had hired 20 years ago. Your dad would be proud to see you here today. Thank you, Tom. I hope I can honor what he built. You already have, Tom said with a smile. Anyone can see that. 3 months later, Hamilton Construction was thriving under my leadership. I had implemented new safety protocols, started a profit-sharing program for long-term employees, and landed the biggest contract in the company's history. Nicholas had tried to contest the will, just as he threatened. But Mr. Henry was right. Dad had documented everything too thoroughly. Nicholas's lawyer advised him to drop the case after reviewing the evidence, including the recording of his behavior in the lawyer's office. I heard through mutual friends that Nicholas had to sell his expensive car and move to a smaller apartment. Part of me felt sorry for him, but a bigger part knew that Dad was right. Some people have to lose everything before they can learn what really matters. 1 year later, Hamilton Construction had doubled in size. We were known throughout the state for our quality work and fair treatment of employees. I had started a scholarship fund for children of construction workers who wanted to attend college. But success brought unexpected challenges. Other companies tried to poach our best workers with higher salaries. Some clients questioned whether a young woman could really handle major projects. There were nights I sat in Dad's old office wondering if I was strong enough to carry his legacy. During one particularly difficult week, when we lost a big contract, To a competitor who bat-mouthed our company, I almost broke down. That's when I found another note from Dad, hidden in his old toolbox that I kept on my desk. Claire, if you're reading this, it means you're facing real challenges as a leader. Good, easy victories don't build character. Remember, I didn't choose you because the path would be smooth. I chose you because I knew you'd fight for what's right, even when it's hard. The company isn't your burden, it's your wings. Fly high, sweetheart. Dad, reading those words, I felt Dad's presence so strongly. It took my breath away. He had known I would face these moments of doubt, and even from beyond the grave, he was still teaching me, still believing in me. The next day, I called a meeting with all our employees. I stood up in front of 40 hardworking men and women and spoke from my heart. Some of you might have heard rumors about our company struggling. Some competitors are spreading lies about our work quality. But I want you all to know something. Hamilton Construction wasn't built on lies or shortcuts. It was built on integrity. And that's how we'll continue to grow. Old Tom stood up in the back. Miss Claire, we've worked for a lot of bosses over the years. But you're the first one who treats us like family, not just employees. We're not going anywhere. One by one, every single employee stood up. The room filled with applause, and I realized that Dad's greatest gift wasn't money or property. It was teaching me how to earn genuine loyalty and respect. Dad's picture hung in my office, and sometimes I would look at it and smile. I think I'm making you proud, Dad, I would whisper. Not just with the business, but with who I'm becoming. I kept that fake will in my desk drawer as a reminder. Not of Nicholas's greed, but of Dad's wisdom. He had seen what I couldn't see at the time, that true strength comes from being tested and proven worthy. Sometimes I wondered what would have happened if Nicholas had reacted differently that day in the lawyer's office. If he had been humble, if he had congratulated me, if he had offered to work together. Would Dad have had a third will ready, splitting everything between us? I'll never know for sure, but somehow I doubt it. Dad wasn't just testing our reactions, he was revealing our true characters. And character, as he always said, is who you are when no one is watching. The real revenge wasn't that Nicholas lost his inheritance. The real revenge was that I gained something much more valuable, the knowledge that I was worthy of trust, respect, and love. And that feeling, that unshakable certainty that I had earned my place in the world, was worth more than all the money Dad could have left me. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of your own family struggles, please like this video and subscribe for more inspiring true stories. Have you ever been underestimated by someone who later regretted it? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Remember, true character isn't revealed in easy times. It's revealed when everything is on the line. And sometimes, the greatest gift a parent can give their child isn't money or success, but the chance to prove they're worthy of both. Thank you for listening to my story. Take care of yourselves, and remember, character always wins in the end.